The Yinyoo V2. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Um, New microphone, so I hopefully this sounds better than the other one. Personally, I just did the video for the hub, and I thought it actually sounded lower than the one that I'm used to. And I don't have my pop filter didn't come in. I don't know where the hell it is, but I kind of bought that separately, and this one didn't come with one, so I apologize for the P's. Okay, I'll try to keep my distance when I say the P words. So we're looking at the Yinyoo V2, and this was one of the first ones out of maybe 10. This was probably the first, one of the first IMs that I reviewed out of 10 different ones at the time. One was the KZ ZST, the ZSN Pro. This one, I'm trying to think of all the ones I had back then. A lot of them I don't have anymore. There was also a V6, which I only borrowed, and that was actually good too, but I don't have that, and this one I actually purchased. Now, I saw this one for the longest time. I heard some good things about it, and I was like, I'm going to buy it. I bought it to listen. I didn't even buy it to review. And I was so mad because I think it dropped like $10 in price just a week later. So looking at this, we're going to look at the back. And looking at the back, we can see that it has a really odd response. 15 hertz to 35 kilohertz. Sometimes you see like 20 to 40, 10 to 40, 5 to 40. I've never seen 15 to 35. 108 decibels at 16 ohms. So it's fairly easy to drive, which was good. And it does sound great right off the phone. I'm going to tell you, it sounded great right off the phone. Now, I did use the beam with it, but you're really not supposed to use 16 ohm on the beam. Thank goodness you can turn the volume down on the phone as well, so you're not kind of blowing them out. But at the time, I just got the beam, and I saw these, and basically what happened was I saw these. I was going through some of the older stuff, and I saw these, and I was like, oh, these were my favorite for like a year. And I know people don't like the cable, but the cable, you got to think at the time, this cable was far ahead of some of the other companies for stock cables that were out. And it is a thin cable, but it is a silver plated cable, 4-core, very tight braid, rubberized, and it was a decent cable. It doesn't tangle that much either. It's got all metal aluminum parts and gold plated. And then you get the units themselves, and of course they look a lot like the tin. They're actually a smaller shape, and this tube part here is more narrow and longer, so they actually fit in the ears better than the tins. And these were out at the same time as the tins. Here's the Evo, which is basically the same shape as the original. And you can see roughly that it is just a little bit different, but it's very similar in the build quality. And of course, this one is 2-pin. It's a 0.78 2-pin connection. And overall, it's just a little bit smaller, making it a little bit more comfortable in the ear. Now, that said, it's got comfort. It's built really well, solid. As a matter of fact, these are years old, and they've held up. And I used the heck out of these until I started getting in the multiple hybrid IMs. Trying to think, my first one was a TripperWin TP10. That was just, yeah, it was so-so. I imagine that it could be modded, made better. I actually still have it somewhere. Then we got in the CCA with 10, and we had the KZ AS10, I think it was. Never got the BA10. I always wanted that one. So I took these out and listened to them again, and using Tidal, and I was actually uh, impressed. I was actually, now I remember why I had these out for a long time. Because honestly, they do sound good. It's a nice U shape. There's good vocals there. The vocals have a good presence. They have some clarity, little tiny bit of warmth in the lowers, but not too much because the bass is just very well controlled and detailed. It's speedy. It's got a nice rapid punch to it, and just overall in general, good detailed bass. Not a bass head I am, just good detailed bass. Really good mids, and they're clear and clean. And then you get in the highs, and they have a nice extension. There's some airiness. There's definitely some sparkle there, and it doesn't get too bad. So these are non-fatiguing. You can literally listen to these for a while. Soundstage and imaging are good. They're actually above average, but I wouldn't consider it the most widest. It is accurate with the soundstage. There's some good layering there and everything, but I wouldn't consider these overly wide. Just decent, much better than average. A little bit beyond the boundaries of your head, and so that's basically the selling point of these. These are very pleasant to listen to. They're not a V aggressive, fun sound. They're just a U fun sound. Uh, they're unique, actually, to be quite honest. It's just a very unique uh, signature that goes well with, especially with the classic music that I was listening to, the classic rock. Sounded excellent. It does sound great with pop music, basically anything, jazz, moving on to classical. I tried it all before I made up my mind. Now I'm going to put those aside. So you get that nice silver plated cable, which looks decent. Um, you open it up, you get this nice case, which at the time for $40 I thought was really good. It came with a case. It came with these white tips, which are the stock. And then it's got these green smoke tips, which I like better. And that was what you got in the box. And for $40 at the time, I thought that was really, really good. I hadn't heard like $100 IM yet. The most expensive IM I had probably were like the KZs. And that's the guy comes along from a company called Yinyoo that I just started hearing about, mostly about cables. And I got into their stuff and I liked it. But unfortunately, a lot of us shunned it because of what happened on HeadFi. We didn't want to, I don't want to be thought of as that. I never personally got paid. I actually bought all my stuff from them, and I liked it. And the reason why I kept buying it is because I liked it. So I don't even know if they're around anymore. I think they still make cables. But other than that, it was a decent IM. And this is the Yinyoo, if you want to call it that, V2. And it has the biocomposite, the double composite biology diaphragm. It works well with phones. It scales well, although I wouldn't suggest putting it on something really powerful because it doesn't need it at 16 ohms. But it's a really good, something to think about if you're adding to your collection. This one is just a really good all-arounder, definitely non-fatiguing signature, and enjoyable with a variety of different types of music. Not to mention that it's been out for a while, so it's probably a decent price. And I will look on the internet and see if I can find you a decent price somewhere for that. So, with that said, more stuff coming in. Hopefully, tomorrow something will come in so I can start testing. And then I'll get back to you. And please be safe. And I hope that your new year is very good. Thank you so much for watching.